Hey guys, wanted to talk to you about offset jaws today and why they may or may not be useful. A lot of talk out there about why they might be good, why they might not be good. Everybody's got their opinion. Now offset jaw, remember, is this little space in the jaws. This is an offset. This is not an offset. This is a closed jaw. These are some number 2 Dukes, dogless. Same concept on these old Victor number 3s. This one has offset jaws. This one is closed jaws. Let's take a tape measure and see how much offset there is. Alright, we got, I would call that a quarter inch offset. And these old Victor number 3s, they might be less than that. Yeah, that's like an 1/8 inch. What's the advantage of offset jaws? I don't know. The reason most of my traps are offset jawed traps is simply because they're more readily available. But I've got coyote, the 2 front coyote feet off the same coyote, average size coyote. So what I want to do is put these feet, set the traps off with each of these feet, put one in an offset jaw, put one in a closed jaw, and see what the difference is. First, let's take a look at the side view of these. Take note of the levers and the angle of the levers. You can see they are relatively close to the same. Maybe I can show it. If you can't see that, you just have to take my word for it. The angle of the levers are basically the same between, as they sit right now with no animal in it, between the offset and the regular jaw. There's no difference in the angle of the lever. The lever sits up at the same height for both of these. So you can see where the lever rests on the jaws is essentially the same. They sit just as high for either one. Alright, so let's put a foot in each one. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this a whirl. First off, I should say that these are actually Duke traps with Bridger jaws, and it's just what I could make for demonstration purposes. That's what I had to do to make this work. I took, one was an old trap, one was a new trap. I took one spring off the old trap, put it on the new trap, took one spring off the new trap and put it on the old trap. Get the point. So that they have the same spring tension and they're essentially the same trap with the exception of the jaws. Alright, here we go. The standard regular closed jaw, right in the middle of the pan. This one has been caught before. I don't think it'll matter. Right in the middle of the pan on the offset jaw. Alright, let me try to get this in here. First off, the distance between the trap jaws on top is going to be the same. We got the same size coyote, just one left foot, one right foot, both front feet. So about a finger width, a little bit more, about a finger width, a little bit more. But let's look at the angle of the lever. Now, you you can already tell. This is the offset jaw. That lever is sitting up higher onto the jaws. Does everybody see that? This lever sits much lower. You can tell by the angle. Go to this side. Don't notice it as much, but it's there. Come here. For whatever reason, this side doesn't show it as well, but this lever sits up higher on the offset jaw than this lever. You'll see it better over on this side. Offset jaw, lever sits higher, lever sits lower on the closed jaw. It makes sense. This isn't rocket science. Since on the opposite jaw, the jaws are closer together, the lever comes up higher. And what's the advantage of that is basically so that the animal cannot escape out of there as easy. It cannot. The thought is that since this lever sits higher, it's going to be harder for these jaws to spread open as the coyote is trying to get its foot out of there. Wonder if we can test that. Let me see if I got a crowbar. So the worry is always the animal is going to be able to break out of this regular jaw easier because the levers are down further. It's going to be easier for the animal to pry these jaws apart. And it does move a little bit. Yeah, I can move them. Alright, let me see if I can do it on the offset jaw. I can. Honestly, I couldn't tell the difference. Just because the jaws sit higher, I couldn't tell the difference. So the argument I hear all the time on Facebook and other places is, well, actually, the last time I was at Shields and I grabbed a couple traps, and the cashier said, "I'm so glad you're buying offset jaws because that's so much better for the animal." But how can it be better for 95% of the animals out there? How does an offset jaw put any less pressure on the foot? I think people are under the assumption that when you have this gap in the jaws on the top, these offset jaws, it's like the animal has the option to rotate his foot around there more easily or something. But that is not the case at all. You can see right here that this is open. If this was completely closed here and there was still a gap up here, then yes, the animal potentially could rotate his ankle in the trap, and his foot pad down here would prevent him from pulling out. But most animals, that's not what these were designed for. I mean, perhaps a small cat, like a small domesticated cat, that may be the case. I don't know. But for sure, on the target animal, in most cases a coyote, or you know, whatever the target animal is, it's not more comfortable in an offset jaw. Now, it may be more comfortable in a laminate jaw. I would agree with that argument, and that's usually what I run. Most of my traps are laminated. For purposes of this demonstration, they're not laminated. But I take my traps and I weld these rods, these lamination rods you get off of, you know, the trapping supply websites or whatever. And I feel that that makes the animal more comfortable in there because it increases the surface area of the jaw. See? It almost doubles it. And everybody's got their own opinions on that, but point is that an offset jaw is not going to make that animal any more comfortable. Now, what I'm going to try to demonstrate here, and I'm not sure that I can, but the argument for closed jaws, you know, some people are real, man, they fight this to the end. And I understand completely what they're saying. A closed jaw is going to capture the animal's foot faster simply because these levers do not have to ride up as high in order to close the trap. So here we are again. This is the offset jaw. The lever has to come up higher than a closed jaw. And we're not talking much, but a little bit. You know, so it takes, you know, considering everything is equal, the same sets of springs and whatnot, obviously it's going to take less time for this lever to go from here to here than it will from here to here. It's just simple, basic common sense. This lever has to travel further in order to get the trap completely closed, or closed enough to hold the animal's foot. I'm going to see if I can demonstrate that by putting it in slow motion. So again, these traps, I tried to build them the same. They are, you know, the spring tension is pretty close to the same. The pan tension is pretty close to the same. I tried to build these to be fairly consistent. The only difference is the offset jaws. I'm going to use the fresh one for both demonstrations. So we're going to start with the closed jaw first. Regular closed jaw, foot in the middle of the pan, middle of the jaws. Here we go. Okay. All right, offset. Foot in the middle of the pan, middle of the jaws. I gotta explain one more thing here. You know, obviously, the reason the lever sits higher is because of this angle right here of the jaw, right? Let me show you an MB550. Same concept, right? The angle of this jaw is what determines how high this jaw, or how high this lever sits when the trap is closed. Let me show you a jaw off of a Duke number 2 dogless. Look at that. There is no angle. It's not tapered. It's tapered way up here, but that's not where the jaw sits. The jaw sits down in there. So that'll blow your mind, huh? So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.